How we doing? This video is gonna be 3 parts. Part 1 is how I think Panasonic should handle their mirrorless lineup of cameras going forward. Part 2, what I think the realistic specs of the GH6 will be. And part 3, we're gonna get a little tinfoil on our heads and we're gonna just speculate what we think the specs of the GH6 will be. Let's do it. I think moving forward, Panasonic should have 4 total cameras that they will continue to update. 2 Micro Four Thirds cameras, the G10 and the GH6, and then 2 full frame cameras, the S2 and the S2H. So the G10 will be this Micro Four Thirds photo-centered camera. The GH6 will be the Micro Four Thirds video-centered camera. The S2 would be the full frame photo-centered camera, and the S2H would be the full frame video-centered camera. Kombucha break. Now let's get into the GH6 and what I actually think the specs will be for this camera. I think the IBIS will pretty much be the same. It's already amazing in the GH5. I think that they'll probably just work on the wobble a little bit. When you're shooting wide angle on the GH5, it just gets a little bit of wobbly. We're gonna get DCI, 4K, 60 frames per second, 10-bit internal. We have UHD 60 on the GH5 in 8-bit. I think we're gonna get 10-bit DCI all the way through the GH6. And I think they're gonna kind of mirror the S1H a little bit with the GH6. So I think that we're gonna see 6K in the GH6, probably up to 30 frames per second, 10-bit. Probably 420, that's my guess. For 1080 full HD, I think they'll pretty much copy the GH5S with the GH6 and give us 240 frames per second. For anamorphic, I think that we'll get 4K up to 60 frames per second, 10-bit internal, and then 6K up to 30 frames per second, probably 8-bit internal. Anamorphic was already really, really good on both the GH5 and the GH5S. So I think they'll just continue the trend, maybe give us a little more resolution, but they are doing a really good job with anamorphic already. Now for picture profiles, I think we're gonna see the GH6 adapt the S1H's full vlog profile, similar to Panasonic's big boy Vericams and the EVA 1. And also I think that we'll get, with that, the S1H color science. I think we'll get dual native ISO. Panasonic has been adapting this into pretty much all of their cameras, the GH5S, the S1H. For autofocus, I think we're still gonna have this contrast-based bullshit. The monitor will probably be the same, hopefully a little bit higher resolution and no freaking dimming on the screen. Just leave it the same brightness the whole time, please, thanks. I think the body will be slightly bigger on the GH6, and I think they'll move the display button because we all complained. Now it's time to speculate. Oh, I can see my reflection. How we doing? Please be long enough. Is it long enough? Comment below if it's long enough. I need it to be more pointy. We will build the point. Is that good? Kombucha break. Oh, damn it. Now we're gonna talk about my hopes and wishes for the Panasonic Lumix GH6. For frame rates and codecs, I would love to see 4K up to 120 frames per second. 10-bit internal would be nice, but that's ridiculous. Maybe past 60 or 75 we get 8-bit. I just don't want to do 1080 anymore. I think we're past it. Also, no 6K. I don't want it. We don't need it. I want more resolution, but not that much. We don't need 6K yet. I don't know, maybe if you're filming back here and you need to punch in or something. Anamorphic 4K up to 60 frames per second. 10-bit internal. That was my prediction for what I think it actually will have, but I really want that, and I don't care about the 6K anamorphic. Just demanding things from companies. Full vlog, we gotta have it. I'm thinking they will, but please, Panasonic, please watch this very important video and give us full vlog with the S1H color science. It looks amazing in that camera, but a lot of us love the GH6, the compact body. Give us the full thing, please. Dual native ISO, it's gotta be in the camera. We need that in the camera. I'm not gonna say anything else about that. Also, I would love to see phase detect autofocus in the GH6. You will sell so many cameras if you add this one feature. Just plug in the phase detect chip into the motherboard. And another thing, we're gonna get a little bit more wild on this one. This one's kind of a crazy expectation, but Panasonic, I would love to see you guys develop your own speed booster with variable ND. I know that's crazy, but Canon made a kick-ass variable ND EF to RF adapter. You just put it on the camera like Panasonic. If you just develop your own and sell it, we'll buy it. We'll buy that crap. And if you put variable ND in that thing, oh my gosh, you'll make so much money. And I think I'm a genius for coming up with that idea. Please don't let the foil ruin my credibility. Check, check, hey. I would love to see red record buttons put on the GH6. I know it's just an aesthetic thing, but the GH5S looked kind of badass with little red record buttons on the front and on the top. Also, we just need that display button moved. You put it by our thumb last time. We hoped you would change it with the GH5S, but we gave you grace because we know you just use the same bodies to save money. That was fine once, but don't do it twice. So just move the display button, make it a physical like push button or something like that. Does this sound bad? Make the GH6 $2,500 or even $3,000 if you put all these features in. We will buy. We will use credit and we will pay it off over time and pay interest. I hope that this video impacted you in a positive way. Thank you for watching. Subscribe instantly. Become a patron to support my videos and buy. Thank you to my patrons for supporting my little family of coneheads. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to Nate Christian and Rhonda Mayfield. Love y'all.